Something extraordinary happens when certain people walk into a room. Have you noticed it? The atmosphere shifts, conversations pause, and attention naturally flows their way. These rare individuals possess what many mistake for a gift. But I'm here to tell you, it's something far more accessible than that. It's a quality that every single one of you can develop, once you understand its true nature. Back in 1992, I witnessed this phenomenon firsthand through a remarkable individual named Thomas in Chicago. He wasn't the loudest voice in the room. He didn't demand attention. He wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. Yet people were drawn to him like moths to a flame. Business leaders sought his advice. Colleagues wanted his opinion. Even strangers would pause their conversations when he spoke. What made Thomas different wasn't some mysterious charisma or natural-born talent. No, what set him apart was something far more fundamental, something that each of you can cultivate starting today. You see, Thomas understood a truth that most spend their entire lives. It was never grasping. The moment you stop chasing people's approval is the moment they begin to follow your lead. This principle contradicts everything society tells us about success and influence. We're taught to network aggressively, to sell ourselves constantly, to chase opportunities and connections. But true influence works in exactly the opposite way. It's like a powerful magnet that draws people in naturally, without force or manipulation. The last time you felt genuinely drawn to follow someone's lead, was it because they demanded your attention? Was it because they desperately tried to convince you of their worth? Or was it because something about them, their character, their expertise, their authentic way of being naturally commanded your respect? The truth I'm about to share with you today will transform how you think about influence, leadership, and personal success. It's a principle that has created more genuine leaders and influential figures than all the networking events and self-promotion tactics combined. This isn't about techniques or strategies. It's about becoming someone worth following. What we're exploring today isn't just another theory about success. It's a fundamental law of human nature that I've observed over decades of studying successful people. When you truly understand and apply this principle, you'll never again feel the need to chase people, opportunities, or recognition. Instead, you'll experience the power of authentic attraction, where the right people and opportunities naturally flow toward you. The path I'm about to share with you requires courage. It demands that you stop doing what everyone else is doing. It asks you to focus on something much more challenging than chasing others. It asks you to focus on becoming someone worth chasing. But I promise you this, once you understand and embrace this principle, you'll never look at influence and success the same way again. The most valuable investment you'll ever make isn't in stocks, real estate, or precious metals. It's in yourself. I've watched thousands of people transform their lives through the power of self-development, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, this is where everything begins. Let me share something crucial about personal growth that most people never understand. It's not about making dramatic changes or taking giant leaps. It's about the small decisions you make every single day. When I studied the most influential people across every field, business, art, science, leadership, I noticed they all shared one common trait. They never stopped working on themselves. Your daily habits for a moment. Every single day, you're either moving forward or sliding backward. There's no standing still in life. When you choose to read a book instead of watching television, you're building your character. When you choose to keep a promise to yourself, even when no one is watching, you're building your character. When you decide to face a challenge instead of avoiding it, you're building your character. I remember meeting a young woman in Detroit who started her journey with just 15 minutes of reading each morning. Just 15 minutes. But she did it every single day without fail. Within a year, she had read over 30 books on leadership and personal development. Her colleagues started noticing changes in how she spoke, how she handled challenges, how she approached problems. They began coming to her for advice, not because she chased them, but because she had developed something valuable within herself. Here's a truth that will transform your life. Personal growth is like a magnet for opportunities. When you consistently work on yourself, you create what I call the attraction factor. People notice something different about you. They can't always put their finger on it, but they sense it. It's the natural result of daily self-improvement. But let me warn you about something important. Most people approach self-development backward. They focus on appearances, on techniques, on what others can see. That's not where real growth happens. Real growth happens in the quiet moments when you're challenging yourself, expanding your knowledge, developing your skills, and strengthening your character. If you improve just one tiny aspect of yourself each day, your knowledge, your skills, your habits, your character, what would you become in a year? In 5 years? The compound effect of daily self-improvement is staggering. It's like interest accumulating in a bank account. But instead of money, you're accumulating personal value. I've seen this principle work across every industry and profession. A teacher who spent 30 minutes each morning studying new teaching methods became so effective that other teachers started sitting in on her classes. A salesman who dedicated himself to understanding psychology and human behavior became so skilled at connecting with people that clients sought him out. They never had to chase success. Success chased them. Creating value in yourself first is the foundation of all lasting influence. It's like building a house. You have to start with a solid foundation. Your knowledge, your skills, your character, these are your foundation. The stronger they are, the more you can build on top of them. But here's what most people miss about self-development. It's not just about acquiring information. It's about becoming someone new. When you consistently work on yourself, you're not just learning new things, you're becoming a new person. The kind of person others naturally want to follow. I want you to understand something fundamental about personal growth. It's not selfish to focus on developing yourself. In fact, it's the most selfless thing you can do, because when you become better, you have more to offer others. When you grow, you create value that benefits everyone around you. The people who have most influenced your life, the teachers who inspired you, the leaders who guided you, the mentors who showed you the way. What made them influential wasn't their techniques or strategies. It was who they had become through their own dedication to growth and development. When you focus on developing yourself, your character, your knowledge, your skills, you naturally become someone worth following. You don't have to tell people to listen to you. They want to listen. You don't have to ask for respect. You'll command it naturally. This is the power of true self-development. Remember this, every book you read, every skill you master, every challenge you overcome. These aren't just achievements, they're investments in your future influence. They're building blocks of your character. They're creating the foundation of your natural leadership. The path of self-development isn't always easy. There will be days when you don't see immediate results. Days when it feels like your efforts aren't being noticed. But I promise you, if you stay committed to your own growth, if you keep investing in yourself day after day, you'll create such value in yourself that people won't be able to ignore it. They'll be naturally drawn to what you've become. Success has a way of announcing itself without saying a word. It's like watching a master musician perform. You don't need anyone to tell you they're skilled. You can feel it. This natural attraction to success is woven into the very fabric of human nature, and once you understand it, you'll never waste another minute chasing people again. Let me tell you about something I observed in Seattle. Back in 1993, there were two business owners on the same street. Both ran similar shops, but their approaches couldn't have been more different. The first owner spent his money on advertising, constantly promoting sales, always trying to pull people through his doors. The second owner focused entirely on creating an exceptional experience inside his store. He trained his staff extensively, curated his products carefully, and made sure every customer left happier than when they came in. Within a year, something remarkable happened. While the first owner kept chasing customers with bigger and bigger promotions, the second owner had lines forming outside his door. He never ran a single advertisement. His customers did his marketing for him. They couldn't help but tell others about their experience. This is the law of attraction in its purest form. Human beings are naturally drawn to excellence. We can't help it. It's programmed into our DNA. When we witness someone who has mastered their craft, whether it's a skilled surgeon, a talented artist, or a wise teacher, we're naturally drawn to them. We want to learn from them, work with them, be around them, not because they convinced us, but because excellence speaks for itself. Understanding this aspect of human psychology changes everything about how you approach leadership and influence. Most people think they need to push, pull, or persuade others to follow them. But true leadership works in exactly the opposite way. It's about becoming so good at what you do that others are naturally inspired to follow your example. The people you most admire, do they spend their time trying to convince you to admire them? Of course not. They focused on their own growth, their own excellence, their own mastery. The admiration came naturally as a result of who they became, not what they demanded. Here's the crucial difference between forcing and inspiring. Force creates resistance. Inspiration creates movement. When you try to force people to follow you, to listen to you, to respect you, you'll always meet resistance. It's human nature to resist being pushed. But when you inspire people through your own example, through your own excellence, they move toward your willingness. I watched a fascinating example of this principle at a manufacturing plant in Michigan. They had two shift supervisors. One tried to maintain order through strict rules and constant oversight. The other focused on being the hardest worker on the floor, always ready to help, always looking for ways to improve the process. Within 6 months, everyone wanted to work on the second supervisor shift. Nobody had to tell them which leader was more effective. They could feel it. This is where most leadership training gets it wrong. They focus on techniques, strategies, and methods to influence others. But true leadership isn't about what you do to others. It's about what you become yourself. When you focus on becoming someone worth following, the techniques and strategies become unnecessary. The most powerful form of leadership doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. Just as heat naturally radiates from a fire, influence naturally radiates from someone who has developed themselves to a high level. You don't have to tell people you're a leader when your actions speak so loudly they can't hear anything else. Here's something vital about human psychology that most people miss. We're all constantly looking for examples to follow. Not people who tell us what to do, but people who show us what's possible. When you become that example, when you demonstrate excellence in your actions rather than just your words, you tap into this fundamental human need. Consider how children learn. They don't learn from what we tell them. They learn from what we show them. Adults aren't so different. We're all looking for living examples of what we could become, what we could achieve. When you focus on becoming that example, you never have to chase followers. They'll find you. The difference between forcing and inspiring comes down to this to be easy. Force is about making others do what you want. Inspiration is about becoming someone they want to follow. Force requires constant effort and creates constant resistance. Inspiration happens naturally and creates willing movement. Remember this. The energy you spend trying to force others to follow you is energy you could be spending on becoming someone worth following. Every time you're tempted to chase people, to convince them, to force them, stop. Redirect that energy toward your own growth, your own excellence, your own development. That's where true influence begins. This is the real secret or law of attraction in leadership. It's not about what you do to attract others. It's about who you become. When you focus on becoming someone of value, someone of substance, someone of real worth, you never have to worry about attraction. It happens as naturally as gravity. The most powerful statement you'll ever make won't come from your mouth. It will come from your actions. I've watched the most effective leaders in history, and they all share one remarkable quality. They let their work speak louder than their words. This is the art of silent leadership, and it's more powerful than any speech you'll ever give. Let me share something I witnessed in a hospital in Minneapolis. There was a senior surgeon who never had to remind anyone of his position or authority. During emergencies, while others might panic or shout orders, he remained calm and focused. When challenges arose, he didn't give long speeches about teamwork. He simply rolled up his sleeves and worked alongside his team until the job was done. Without saying a word about leadership, he taught everyone around him what true leadership looks like. People don't ultimately follow what you say, they follow what you do. Every action you take is like a pebble dropped in a pond, creating ripples that extend far beyond the initial splash. When you consistently demonstrate excellence in your actions, you create waves of influence that no amount of talking could ever achieve. Trust isn't built through promises. It's built through consistent performance. I remember a factory supervisor who never made grand promises about production goals or employee satisfaction. Instead, he arrived 15 minutes early every day for 20 years. He knew every process in the factory. When equipment broke down, he was there, hands dirty, working on solutions. He never had to ask for his team's trust. He earned it through thousands of small, consistent actions. This is where most people get leadership backward. They think leadership's about giving orders, making speeches, or having a fancy title. But real leadership, the kind that inspires genuine loyalty and respect, often happens in complete silence. It happens in the quiet moments when you choose to do the right thing, even when no one is watching. I want you to understand something crucial about human nature. We are all natural pattern readers. We don't just listen to what people say. We watch what they do. We observe their patterns of behavior. When someone's actions consistently demonstrate integrity, competence, and care, we naturally want to follow their lead. No convincing required. The most trusted person in your life, did they earn your trust through words or actions? Did they tell you to trust them? Or did they show you they were trustworthy? The answer is always in the showing, never in the telling. This is the essence of silent leadership. Letting your actions build your authority. Here's a powerful truth about leadership that most people never grasp. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. When you stop trying to prove your leadership through words, you start noticing opportunities to demonstrate it through actions. You see the small moments where real leadership is needed, not in grand gestures, but in consistent, reliable performance. I observed a school principal who transformed her school not through new policies or inspirational speeches, but through simple, consistent actions. She arrived early to help the custodian set up. She learned every student's name. She picked up trash in the hallway without saying a word about it. Within a year, the entire school culture had shifted. Teachers started arriving earlier. Students began picking up trash. No one had to be told to do these things. They were inspired by her silent example. The power of actions over words lies in their undeniable authenticity. Words can be manipulated, misinterpreted, or forgotten, but actions leave a lasting impression that no one can deny. When you consistently perform at a high level, when you reliably do what needs to be done, when you steadily demonstrate your values through your actions, you create an influence that no amount of talking could ever achieve. Building trust through consistency isn't glamorous. It's about showing up day after day, performing at your best even when no one is watching, maintaining your standards even when it would be easier to cut corners. But this consistent performance creates something remarkable, a reputation that speaks louder than any words ever. Remember this tempted to explain your leadership, to convince others of your worth, to tell people to trust you. Stop. Instead, ask yourself, how can I demonstrate these things through my actions? The answer to that question will always be more powerful than any words you could speak. This is the art of silent leadership. Letting your performance speak for itself, letting your consistency build trust, letting your actions inspire others. It's about understanding that true influence doesn't come from what you say about yourself, but from what others say about you based on your consistent actions. The beauty of silent leadership is that it's available to everyone. You don't need a title, a position, or special authority. You just need the courage to let your actions speak for themselves, the discipline to remain consistent, and the wisdom to understand that real influence is built in silence, one action at a time. Most people spend their entire lives following trails that others have blazed, but true influence comes from having the courage to create your own path. I've studied successful individuals across every field imaginable, and I've noticed something remarkable. They didn't become influential by copying others. They became influential by having the courage to be uniquely themselves. Let me tell you about a small business owner I met in Portland. While every other coffee shop in town was trying to copy the big chains, she decided to do something different. She created a space that reflected her own values, using only locally roasted beans, displaying local artists' work, hosting community events. People told her it wouldn't work. They said she needed to follow the proven formula. But she stood firm in her conviction. Today, her shop has become a landmark, and those same people who doubted her now try to copy her success. There's something powerful about authenticity that no amount of imitation can match. When you develop your unique qualities, when you stay true to your own vision, you create something that others can't duplicate. Because they can copy what you do, but they can't copy who you are. Every great innovation, every meaningful advancement, every lasting influence came from someone who was willing to step off the beaten path. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't wait for approval. They had the courage to trust their own instincts and create something new. I remember watching a teacher in Minneapolis who completely transformed how she taught mathematics. While other teachers stuck to traditional methods, she incorporated music, movement, and real-world problems into her lessons. Her colleagues thought she was weird. Parents were skeptical, but she stood firm because she knew in her heart this was the right approach. Within a year, her students were outperforming every other class in the district. She didn't just teach math differently. She redefined what was possible in education. There's something crucial about developing your unique qualities. It's not about being different for the sake of being different. It's about having the courage to be truly yourself. It's about looking inside and asking, what do I really believe? What do I really value? What do I really want to contribute to the world? Standing firm in your convictions isn't easy. You'll face criticism, you'll face doubt, you'll face pressure to conform. But remember this, every person who ever made a meaningful impact faced exactly the same challenges. The difference is they refuse to let those challenges shake their conviction. I've watched countless people transform their lives and their industries simply because they had the courage to be different. A doctor who insisted on spending more time with fewer patients against all conventional wisdom. A manufacturer who chose quality over quantity when everyone else was cutting corners. A salesperson who refused to use high-pressure tactics when that was the industry standard. They all faced resistance, but they all created lasting success by staying true to their convictions. The courage to be different isn't about rebellion or defiance. It's about having the strength to follow your own inner compass, even when everyone else is pointing in a different direction. It's about understanding that your unique perspective, your unique approach, your unique contribution is exactly what the world needs. If you're exactly like everyone else, why should anyone follow you? What unique value are you bringing? What new path are you creating? The very qualities that make you different are often the same qualities that will make you influential. I want you to understand something vital about creating your own path. It's not just about being successful, it's about being significant. When you have the courage to be uniquely yourself, to stand firm in your convictions, to chart your own course, you create something more valuable than success. You create meaning. Remember those moments when you knew in your heart what was right, but feared what others might think. Those moments are your opportunities to demonstrate real leadership, because true leadership isn't about following the crowd. It's about having the courage to go where your convictions lead you. The path of authenticity isn't always the easiest path, but it's the only path that leads to lasting influence. When you stay true to your values, when you develop your unique qualities, when you stand firm in your convictions, you create something remarkable. A path that others will want to follow, not because you asked them to, but because you showed them something real and valuable. This is the paradox of authentic leadership. The more uniquely yourself you become, the more others will be drawn to follow you. Not because you're trying to be influential, but because you're being genuinely, authentically, courageously yourself. Excellence is a quality that money can't buy and influence can't fake. It naturally commands attention. Think of it like a light in darkness. You don't have to tell people to look at it. They'll notice it on their own. This is what I call the magnetic effect of personal achievement, and it's the most powerful force in creating natural influence. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this principle. In 1994, I met a carpenter in Boston who never advertised his services, never networked at business events, never asked for referrals. Instead, he focused entirely on mastering his craft. He studied ancient woodworking techniques. He practiced his skills relentlessly. He treated every project, no matter how small, as if it were going in a museum. Soon, people started noticing. His work didn't just satisfy customers. It amazed. Within 3 years, he had a 2-year waiting list of clients, all through word of mouth. When you achieve true excellence in any field, you create what I call a natural authority. This isn't authority that comes from a title or position. It's the kind of authority that makes people naturally turn to you for guidance. They don't follow you because they have to. They follow you because they want to learn from your expertise. How this works in your own life. When you need medical advice, you don't look for a doctor who makes the loudest claims or has the biggest advertising budget. You look for someone who has demonstrated real expertise. You ask people you trust for recommendations. You seek out those who have proven their excellence through results. I've watched this principle work in every field imaginable. A teacher whose students consistently outperform expectations finds other teachers asking to observe her classes. A business owner who maintains the highest quality standards discovers competitors trying to learn his methods. A parent who raises exceptional children finds neighbors seeking their advice. Excellence creates authority without demanding it. But here's what most people miss about the magnetic effect. It's not just about being good at what you do. It's about the ripple effect your achievement creates in the lives of others. When you achieve excellence in any area, you don't just elevate yourself, you lift everyone around you. You show others what's possible. You inspire them to reach higher. I remember observing a young athlete who transformed her entire team without ever being named captain. She simply committed herself to being the hardest worker in every practice. She studied the game deeply. She maintained peak physical condition. Soon, her teammates started staying late to practice with her. They began asking about her training routine. Her standards of excellence became contagious. This is the ripple effect of personal achievement in action. Here's something crucial about natural authority. It can't be faked. You can't pretend your way to excellence. You can't shortcut your way to expertise. But when you genuinely develop mastery in your field, when you truly achieve excellence in your work, you create an influence that no amount of artificial authority can match. The ripple effect of personal achievement works because it taps into something fundamental in human nature, our desire to grow, to improve, to become better. When people see real excellence, they're naturally inspired to raise their own standards. They want to know how you did it. They want to learn from your example. They want to understand your process. Every major advancement in human history started with one person's commitment to excellence, one person who refused to accept mediocrity, one person who pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Their achievement created a ripple effect that inspired others to follow their example, to build on their success, to reach for excellence themselves. This magnetic effect of achievement explains why some people seem to attract opportunities effortlessly. It's not luck or coincidence. It's the natural result of consistent excellence. When you become truly excellent at what you do, opportunities don't just come to you. They chase you. People don't just notice you. They seek you out. The energy you spend trying to appear successful would be better spent becoming genuinely excellent. The time you invest in promoting yourself would be better invested in improving yourself. Because when you achieve real excellence, you won't need to promote it. Excellence promotes itself. This is the ultimate secret of natural influence. It comes from who you become, not from what you claim to be. When you focus on achieving genuine excellence in your field, when you commit to constant growth and improvement, when you maintain the highest standards in your work, you create a magnetic force that naturally draws others to you. Your personal achievements, your commitment to excellence, your dedication to mastery, these create ripples that extend far beyond your immediate circle. They inspire others to raise their standards. They encourage others to pursue excellence. They show others what's possible. This is how real change happens, not through force or manipulation, but through the magnetic effect of personal achievement.